Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. What we're seeing in terms of the market trading, not just PLTR, but the general market, is the overall brakes being applied. And we're seeing a little bit of some cooling off happening, especially with some volume that's coming down across the market and PLTR included. And that is because investors and traders are waiting for a big week of inflation data that's going to be coming in, and especially the probability is kind of uncertain right now for those interest rate cuts because oil prices are also starting to increase due to tensions that are happening across the world. Now, we're going to be talking about PLTR, also analyzing what's happening with earnings coming up about a month from now, what could be happening with the whole Q1 earnings season that is ahead of us. So if you are new, returning viewer, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Before we get too far into what's happening with PLTR, even though we don't have a ton of news to report on today, let's talk about the market in terms of what actually happened. You can see some of the big indexes right here, basically all at a break even, 0.03%, 0.04, not moving a ton. PLTR also up basically 0.17% today. So very small movements, even on some more of the volatile stocks here, as investors are kicking, like I said, a big week of inflation data test. And this is going to help determine the probability of the rate cuts that could possibly be happening in June and when the first round of rate cuts is going to initiate. Also, what we do have in terms of that, we have 10-year treasury yields. Those are basically at some of the all-time highs that we're seeing. And at the same time, what we are seeing is the oil prices, like I had mentioned, are continuing to increase. And this is not in support of the cooling inflation pressures. If we see those oil prices continue to rise, then the actual probability of those interest rate cuts and inflation data reports, that can be very volatile and not what Wall Street could be expecting. PLTR is still sitting in this head and shoulders pattern. Typically, this is bearish, but it's actually doing a good job holding the line right now. And that's last week. We had some great bullish news for PLTR, like the Oracle Cloud deal that is a partnership between Oracle and AI and PLTR, utilizing their AIP services and their AIP softwares and all the technology they have to bring that to Oracle. And this really helps exponentiate the exposure that PLTR can help get to have that NVIDIA type moment like we talk about. When will that explosive growth occur? Because right now, you see at a $50 billion market cap, the question is, and people throw around, when will PLTR become a $1 trillion market cap? And this is an interesting post here on X from Arnie talking about that a $1 trillion market cap is actually easier said than done. He is saying here at a 30% growth and a 15x is actual earnings, basically sales right now. These are strong assumptions. It would still require 12 years. Will you have the patience? So 12 years and becoming a $1 trillion stock, you know, it's not completely out of the blue, depending on how number one, the economy is, how much influx comes into PLTR, and also how widely adapted AI is culturally and on a societal basis. But PLTR here, even hitting a $200 billion market cap, a 4x from here, that's going around those $100 price targets, in my opinion, I think is incredibly possible within the next decade. And then that goes to talk about right here, talking about PLTR is a trending stocks and things to know before taking a bet on it. This great article here coming from Zacks, reported on Yahoo, talking about how PLTR, we've mentioned this before, is one of the most searched stocks. This is a big thing to consider because there is a lot of hype behind it. However, what Zacks utilizes in terms of displaying and resulting and coming out with their strong buy or strong sell ratings from that 1 to 5 is utilizing the earning estimate revisions. And if we look at PLTR Seeking Alpha, I like to get all my content here. I am an affiliate partner with them. If you want to get 20% off their premium membership, I get a lot of important data that I use for my content creation. Check out my link down below in the description. But what you see here is we're continuing to see these earnings per share revisions that are continuing to increase. And this is really why PLTR is carrying this high valuation. We talk about this on a repetitive basis, but if you're new to the channel, we'll quickly recap here that valuation is really really a gauge, and this is kind of supporting the opinion of what Zach's saying here, a gauge on what the future stream of earnings is what determines this fair value of the stock. And right now what we are seeing is the future earnings expectations continue to be bullish, and PLTR is continuing to smash those earnings. We've seen that for 5 quarters now, especially with the 5th quarter of GAAP profitability. And of course, beating the hammer of the nail, we have when will the S&P 500 inclusion happen? That criteria is on the table. When things get more serious about that, I think that is what we need to start really taking a deep dive analysis into that. But talking about that, let's look at last earnings and if we see another earnings breakout where PLTR could possibly be testing. Because remember, the last time we had Q4 earnings going here from the 16-17s area, this nice gap being created here, getting this 52-week year-to-date high at 27.50. If you have a similar gap that gets created there, you can test these levels around that 27 area again, around this 52-week year-to-date high resistance points, and then depending how they are, could get into the 30s. Now, however, there's a lot of volatility here because Palantir needs to continue to beat those earnings. But however, with what Alex Karp has came out with public statements, with what we've seen from the previous earnings reports, the demand on the table is continuing to expand. And I think this earnings is still continuing to trend in the right way, considering the number of governmental contracts and commercial contracts that are continuing to evolve, and those are the public ones that PLTR is coming out to report with. In terms of options, we're seeing end of the week here, a little bit of call volume at that $24 strike price compared to the puts right here at the only one over 10,000 right here. So in the short term, people taking a bullish bet on PLTR looking well. One big thing that I do like is seeing what are the big investors are doing. A lot of people do this copy trading with many different analysts that they do like. We know Cathie Wood, she is a big investor, has a big name in the whole investing space. One thing that she always has been bullish on is on PLTR, and especially right now, PLTR is continuing to be on the top of Cathie Wood stocks to buy right now. And I think she's kind of getting a little bit of that reputation like Mr. Kramer, basically saying where what she buys will go the opposite way, that reverse psychology, what we're seeing right here. But nonetheless, her ARK Invest fund is investing in those disruptive technologies. And I would entirely agree that PLTR is a strong disruptive technology, getting itself and taking market share from a lot of these other different companies with the new leading AI competitive edge technologies that they have to offer in terms of software. One of the biggest numbers that we talked about, remember, was their commercial revenue up 70% year over year. That is what really launched the stock into the 20s. And talking about Alex Karp maintaining focus on driving profitable growth, continuing to diversify from their own core business. So PLTR is looking to stay ahead of the times, looking to always find ways to implement change within their business, which is what I like because they won't hopefully get stuck in any type of track or in the old times or anything like that. So nonetheless, not a ton to report on for PLTR today, but talking about some of the things that could be happening in the future and what the investors are really and what traders are really looking forward to. That's going to be the inflation report. So lots of volatility could be coming here in the near future. Only time will tell, but we'll be keeping you guys updated, of course, on a daily basis on Data Dispatch. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.